Hi, I'm Gurvinder. So today, we are extremely excited to launch the Auto Browse TypeScript library. Um, Basically, this Auto Browse TypeScript library fundamentally changes how we write our automation test cases, the UI automation test cases. And when I say fundamentally, basically, um, The this library actually replaces any automation code which we write. The only piece of code basically you will have to write if once we start using this library is what you see on my screen right now. This is the only piece of code you might ever have to write in your for your automation testing, and rest everything will be done in natural language. So basically, there's no need to write any code. That's what, at a high level, this library does. And I will walk you through how this is a significant change. So let's see. First of all, let's understand like how generally we write automation test cases for the browser, right? So what you see on my screen, I'm on Playwright's website. And if you are familiar with writing UI test cases, Playwright is one of the tools, just like Selenium is one of the libraries. So Playwright allows you to write the UI test cases, and here is an example. So this is the code which we write. You navigate to the website. You try to pull the title, verify it, navigate to a different page, and this is how you identify the elements on the page. There are multiple locator strategies which you can use, which Playwright allows you to use. But at the end of the day, an automation engineer needs to know to write an effective locator. This is how you generally write a single, and this is a small example of a UI test case. But in production environments, there are hundreds of tests which are written, right? So this is one way of writing your automation test cases. Um, there are people who use another approach. Basically, they try to combine the Playwright test cases or the Selenium test cases with business BDD test cases, what they call. Uh, And what that allows you to do is write your scenarios, your test scenarios in a natural language. What you see on my screen, Playwright-BDD is one of the libraries which allows you to write your scenarios. So what you have to do is you write a feature file, which is a scenario. So whatever your test cases are, you end up writing these scenarios. And then below that, you actually implement each of these steps. What you see here, I'm on home page. I click the link. I see in the title, these are the steps which you have to implement. And these steps are now again now written in Playwright. So that means first you have to write this, and then you have to also write the Playwright steps as well. And this is the actual code which gets executed when you run your test cases. Now, with the launch of Auto Browse, this fundamentally changes the way we write and maintain these test cases. And let me show you how. So this is the documentation page of the TypeScript Auto Browse library, right? And it has various examples. So let me start with the basic one. Um, so let's see how you will write Playwright test cases if you are using the Auto Browse library. Um, this portion, like the imports and everything, this remains the same, right? But what has changed here is there are no locators which we are specifying. We are giving the instructions in natural language, right? If you see scroll down, so what I'm saying is like click on the login button, type username in the email field. So basically, like there is no locator which we are specifying here. We are just giving these instructions in natural language. That means this is still a piece of code, but everything inside it is like written in natural language, right? That's one of the biggest change. That means you do not have to worry about locators or anything. You just specify whatever action you want to take, and the auto browse library will execute it, right? In the subsequent video, we will talk about like how um, exactly this works. But for this, I will just walk you through how you go ahead using this library. Now, I was talking about this single line of code, right, which fundamentally replaces how we write the automation test cases. So let me try to show that. So this is how you, if you are using Playwright, this is how you write the test cases using auto browse. But what we are proposing is the next level. That means you do a combination of auto browse along with the BDD, right? And let's go here, and this is where you will see the example, right? Um, so this is what we write in BDD. This we saw here, right, in Playwright BDD. So this is the same thing which we have to do. You end up using the same library, right? And then so using that library, you are going to specify these steps. But this is what that's all what you need. Once you have written this, right? You have written all your scenarios. The only thing which you need to now do is just like this one step definition which you have to specify. And this one single step will take care of every step which you have written in your scenario. Like this shows you one example scenario, but even if you have hundreds of scenario, you don't need to write any other scenario specific steps anywhere. So this is the only piece of code which you will have in terms of Playwright. And that's what basically the fundamental shift is. Um, and what does this mean is like I'm making a broad statement here, but we have been talking about that AI will replace software engineers, right? And when I look at this to me is like one of the steps. It's kind of replacing the role of an automation engineer, right? Because that's what an automation engineer does. They write these steps um, to execute the playwright test cases, right? And um, if this one step can take care of everything, because these scenarios can come from a business user, can come from anyone, right? Who comes up with the requirements. And even if you are not a technical person, right, you can write these scenarios, and you don't need any technical knowledge to, or a playwright knowledge to write the test cases now because everything is taken care by this single step here. So that's a big change. What we have done is we have also put together an example repository here, auto browse TypeScript BDD example, and it has all the steps what you need to do to set this up. And we have also provided with couple of examples here. So there are two feature files here, and then here are the steps, the same step which I mentioned there, that this single step which is there. And along with that, we have also given like an example of um, what happens like when we do not have these steps, like without auto browse. This is how you are going to write this step. There's like few examples given here, right? But as your steps increase, this will keep increasing, and you might end up like with multiple step files in that case. Let me quickly try to demonstrate this as well on my screen. Let's see. Here I have already done everything. Let's see. It's the same code repository which you see here, which you see on my screen right now. And since everything is set up, I will run the command to run the test cases. So you say npm test, and it's going to start executing all the test cases which are there in the feature directory. It should take a minute to execute this, and we will also see the live execution because I'm not running in headless mode. So you will see it's opening up two browsers and it's going to perform the actions here, and we will see the results at the end. So one of the test case has completed. So these are the two test cases which I executed. And if I drill down, I will see the same thing, like given n- how we navigated, where we clicked, and at the end, we also have the video recording if you want to watch. And that's for both this is your classic Playwright report. Nothing changes. And that's the interesting part, right? That to use auto browse, you can start using it right away with your existing Playwright test cases. You actually don't need to do anything. It's install the auto browse library and you're good to start using it, right? Let me quickly also try to demonstrate like what happens if we try to run this without auto browse, right? So for that, I will go and make a change in the config file, right? I will copy this, and here instead of steps, I'm going to replace this, and we will try to run the tests one more time, right? This is just to demonstrate that um, if we are not using Playwright, the auto browse library, what kind of problems we face, right? And how it makes it. So the test case has failed. Let's see what went wrong, right? And if I try to read this, I guess let's see what it has to say. Um, Resolved to two elements. Okay, so this basically says that it 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 located like two elements with the same name, quick start, right? And I think that's because our auto browse documentation, this is the page which it was trying to test. It probably clicked here, and then I guess it found this quick start at two different places. Right. Okay. Yeah, this one. So it found quick start here and it also found quick start here. And that kind of confuses Playwright. It's not confusing because, but Playwright like picked it correct. There are two, so it does not know which one to pick. But in case of AI, that's not the case. It will pick the one of them, right? Because it understands that both of them are going to take it to the same page. So you will not see that error. Right, that's one example. Another is like, let me see if I can show that as well. Um, Here, right? So here I'm saying like navigate. Let me make a mistake here, in this step. Instead of navigate, I say navigate, that's a typo. And this has to match with what you have mentioned in your feature file. Um, if it does not match, if there's a mismatch, you might see some error here. Let's see what happens after this, right? So it's going to throw an error, um, which is good. It picks up the problem, but then again, it's user has to read this, go and fix it, right? Or this, let's do it another way, like you have this and maybe you change something here, right? You type like two n's here. What happens if you make a mistake in the scenario file, right? So again, and that's the problem, right? And this is just like with the scenario files, but um, it you will find errors. The one which I showed you, right? If it is able, it tries to locate the elements. If it finds two elements, it's going to throw an error. If your locator is incorrect, it's going to throw an error. If anything changes on your UI, it's going to throw an error. I will try to add more examples in my future videos, but this was just to demonstrate like quickly as a launch video for this. I will try to add more, but I would encourage you to give it a try. Um, in if you are writing automation test cases or anything, and this library is not limited to writing automation test cases. You can use it for um, your other browser automation tasks as well. So we have given the example for that as well, like how you can use this in a standalone mode if you're trying to build an agent which is which is trying to do, some browser automation task. You can still use this library, um, right? So yeah, please give it a try, and we'll see you in another video. Thanks.